Welcome everyone. Well, there are big days and then there are really big days. For our national game of Australian rules football and for the state of Tasmania, this feels really big. Historic. It's a big day for football, it's a big day for Tasmanians, and I believe it's a big day for all AFL supporters. Today is the result of nearly 150 years of football passion by Tasmania and their proud and passionate football community, and frankly, decades of advocacy. Decades of Tasmania fighting for the right to be represented, fully represented in the national game on the national stage. A game Tasmanians have helped build. A game Tasmanians have dominated. Baldock, Stewart, Hudson, Hart, all legends in the Australian Football Hall of Fame. At Richmond alone, Richardson, Roach, Gale, Riewoldt, names that define the club. Names that are synonymous with our game. Today is about the AFL continuing to live out our purpose of progressing the game so that everyone can share in its heritage and in its possibilities. Everyone. And today, we close the loop. Today is about recognising that Tasmania belongs in our AFL and AFLW competitions, belongs in the national football conversation, and belongs in the national fixture. Today is also the culmination of so much work by so many people. I want to firstly thank Premier Jeremy Rockliff and his government for their vision, their dogged commitment and their investment, both financially and emotionally in football. Thank you, Premier. It's also important to acknowledge former Tasmanian Premier Peter Gutwein, who refused to take no for an answer, a baton he clearly passed on to Premier Rockliff. And to Acting Prime Minister Richard Marles and Prime Minister Anthony Albanese for your support of a project that not only creates the opportunity for a new football club, but also the opportunity to bring to life a vision for an urban renewal project that will not only change a sport, but change a city and change a state. So thank you to Premier Rockliff and Prime Minister Albanese, represented here by the Acting Prime Minister, for having the conviction and the determination to make this happen. And also for the confidence that our sport can and will deliver on our promises to drive economic activity, tourism and pride. To the members of the Tasmanian Task Force who took passion aplenty and mixed it with the support of 90,000 football-loving Tasmanians, a clinical business case and a refusal to let this moment in time pass. Thank you. And to my own team, led by executives Travis Auld and Sam Graham, who set 11 work streams that needed to be approved before a 19th licence could be issued, and have worked assiduously to get the job done. Thank you. And thank you to the 18 AFL clubs and their presidents and the AFL Commission who have walked every step of this journey and ensured that the outcome today is not only one that is good for Tasmania, but good for our national game and every one of our supporters. Thank you all for your vision and for your support. Today, we are here to ensure a foundation football state filled with believers, supporters and gravel rash grit get the opportunity to unite their state and unite behind a single cause. Yesterday afternoon, at a meeting of the AFL Commission, where all commissioners were present, the AFL Commission resolved to award a licence based on conditions to a Tasmanian club, a decision that will finally make our national competitions truly national. And this morning, we signed binding commitments with the Tasmanian Government that committed to delivering on those conditions, including partnering with the federal government for the construction of a 23,000-seat roofed stadium at Macquarie Point. So on this basis, and on behalf of our AFL Commission Chairman, Richard Goyder, the AFL Commission, and with the support and endorsement of presidents and chairs of all 18 AFL clubs, I'm proud and excited to announce the awarding of the 19th licence to play in the AFL and AFLW competitions to Tasmania. A 19th club in Tasmania, for Tasmania, uniting Tasmania. Thank you everyone for your support to get to this position, and now I'd like to hand over to the Premier.
Well, thank you very much, Gil. This is indeed an historic day for the state of Tasmania. Our time has finally come, where we have our right to be represented in the national competition, the Australian Football League, and of course the AFLW. This has been a hard fight, hard fought for by many Tasmanians over a number of generations. And I want to pay tribute to the believers, the people, the grassroots, footy clubs, young players, everyone that believed not only in the AFL and the AFLW, but believed in Tasmania, most importantly. We punch well and truly above our weight in every single way. And football, clearly, when you look at the greats that Gil has also spoken of, the household names over many generations, Harts, Baldocks, Hudsons, Rewalts, Richardsons, famous icons and wonderful ambassadors and true legends of the great game. And today we have the Jack Rewalts, the Alex Pearces, the Lockie Cowans, and many more that represent our fine state, but represent our fine state in other clubs outside of our state. My vision and the vision of my predecessor, and no doubt predecessors going back many years, was for Tasmania to be counted in the national competition, to make the Australian Football League truly Australian. And that's been the missing piece for generations. You cannot leave Tasmania off the map and call yourself an Australian Football League. Today, at midday, we changed all that. We changed the course of history, not only for the AFL, but for Tasmania itself. And I want to thank again the 90,000 believers that stood up in recent times that said, yes, we can do this. We have the confidence, we have the depth, we have the guts, we have the determination to make this happen. And this has been hard fought for, as I've said. And can I thank the AFL, Gillian, indeed the 18 presidents who have finally realised the true potential of an Australian Football League and indeed AFLW. Today we're here because of also the goodwill and the partnership we have with the federal government. If ever there was a sign of state and federal governments working together, this is it. And it was a very proud moment for me to be with Prime Minister Albanese just a few days ago, securing the deal for Tasmania. And I want to thank the Acting Prime Minister, Richard, for being here today, a passionate Cats fan. I'm sorry, mate, we're going to slaughter you on the field in a few years' time. But 2028 is now our focus, where we truly become part of that national competition. So thank you all. Can I lastly say this? There are many people right across Tasmania, the AFL, who have come together to make this happen, not just in the last 12 months, but for decades. And I see a number of them here in the crowd today. This is also your moment. You know, all of you, how far and how hard you've worked for this over many years. And soak it up, enjoy it. Don't think of it as a little contribution. The smallest of contributions has got us here today. And we've always done this, and not only for the future of footy and the great grassroots game that it is, but for these kids, future legends of the game, that now don't have to go and live interstate and chase their dreams outside Tasmania. They can live their dream right here in Tasmania. They can live their dream. And we've made it happen, and we've made it happen for the kids behind me, the boys, the girls, the young men, the young women, who will be absolutely representing their own Tasmanian team in our own colours, and finally singing our own song after those many victories from 2028 onwards. Thank you very much.
Well, Jeremy and Gil, it is a tremendous honour and joy to be standing here today. This is a very historic day, because today we resolve unfinished business in Australia's national footy project. For decades, the children of this state have been writing their part in Australia's footy story. From a concussed Peter Hudson valiantly trying to break the goal-kicking record in the 1971 grand final, to Royce Hart taking a screamer in the last few minutes to deprive Geelong of the 1967 flag, to Darryl Baldock leading St Kilda to the mountaintop for their one and only visit to John Devine, who starred in that 63 grand final which gave us a flag, and more recently the Rewalts, the Lynches, the Richardsons, and indeed the most recent Tasmanian to have an AFL Premiership medal, Jade Kolodjasny. And in the women's game as well, Nicole Bresnahan, who has been starring for North Melbourne. But until now, that story has largely been written on the mainland. Tasmania's best have had to cross Bass Strait in order to show the country what they can do. But all of that changes today. All of that changes with the announcement of Tasmania being the 19th team in our competition. And they will have the great honour of standing alongside the other teams in the competition to be put to the sword by Geelong at the highest level. And we very much look forward to that. The federal government is really proud to be a part of this, a $240 million commitment to the redevelopment of Macquarie Point, the heart of which will be this new stadium. And I just want to thank everyone who has been involved in this and bringing this to the wonderful moment that is today. The Tasmanian government and Jeremy, they deserve a lot of credit for bringing this here, and also to Gil and the AFL This is making right what needs to be in terms of a proud footy state of Tasmania taking its place within our national competition. The federal government is proud to play its part in working with the AFL and with the Tasmanian government in making this a reality, and I really want to thank everyone for the role that they have played in getting us to this point today. Thank you.
There would have been cheering, maybe a tear or two from this man. Launch&Hanson is a long-time advocate for the AFL Tasmanian team and has used the last 5.5 years of his retirement trying to get this over the line. Russell, I feel like I should have had some kind of fanfare for you. You know, maybe balloons falling from the roof, cheering. This is a huge moment. I say hand on heart, you know, you have been a volunteer, you've dedicated 5 years of your life to try and get this over the line. How happy are you?
Absolutely delirious. I might have my moments, I guess, a bit of shock, but it is the most magnificent thing ever to happen for us. And while I've put 5.5 years virtually full time into it, we in Tasmania have waited 33 years.
Why is this a passion of yours?
It's a passion because back in the 70s, our football was just absolutely sensational. But go back 5.5 years, we had a statewide competition. There were 10 teams in it. And within a couple of years, 3 of those teams disappeared from the north of the state, where there were actually 5 teams. Our grassroots was just virtually non-existent. We had no pathways. But the thing that was quite clear was every other state had at least 2 AFL teams. Victoria, 10. Tasmania, 0. And then everyone wondered, why is our football dying? Well, we know why. So we decided that we are going to make it happen.
What will ensure that it's successful?
Look, I think the fact that the AFL have come on side with us over the last 2 years, and they set up a specific working group with high-level executives in the AFL and some members from the AFL task force. And they looked at all the things that needed to be done so that a new AFL licence, the team would be sustainable and successful. So clearly there's been problems with Gold Coast Suns and GWS financial-wise, and they still have those problems. GWS have had some success on the field, not quite so with Gold Coast. So the whole concept was we want Tasmania to hit the first game running and prove that we're going to be worthy, and we will be.
I can hear that passion already. In terms of, I'd always, you know, when you look at new teams, and it's been some time now, but you just mentioned there, obviously, the Suns and the Giants. And whenever I would see in the early days these teams play, there would be a bevy of supporters. You know, you would have your support group and your fan clubs, and they would all be there. And I'd always think, how did they get so many supporters when it feels like yesterday this team didn't even exist? How do you go about, because a big part of football and football success is having the dedication and the love and the support of your fans, of your supporters. How do you start a new team and make sure that there's not just the mums and dads and maybe some siblings of the players in the crowd wearing a new jumper and scarf? How do you get that supporter base there, do you think? Are Tasmanians ready to take this on?
Look, absolutely. I think the best way to probably answer that question is we currently have Hawthorn playing 4 games in the north of the state, fly in, fly out. North Melbourne, 4 games in the south. Now, the support for those 2 clubs from the Tasmanian point of view has waned. Why are we having, I won't call them foreign, but they're certainly not Tasmanian teams, but at the peak of those two teams, there was a total of 17,500 members. Now that's for two suburban Victorian clubs, flying in, flying out, playing in Tasmania. 17,500. Now, turn that into a Tasmanian team playing 11 games, should be 12, mind you, in Tasmania each year, and you can double that right from the start.
So big question is, what are they going to be called? Lots of Devils is the first thing, but people are like, no, I think that's the grassroots team. The local team is called the Devils. Lots of ideas coming through already, saying for the Tassie team, Demons, Devils, aren't they the same thing? We can't call them that. They've got to call them something else. Have you got a name, an ideal name in the back of your mind, Russell?
Well, look, back in about 2018, the very same question was raised, and AFL Tasmania at that point ran a survey, and the name that came out was Tasmanian Devils, and it was decided at that point of time that where we had a football team, whether it be under 18s, whatever, they'd be referred to as the Tasmanian Devils, and ultimately that would flow through from the junior state representative sides right through to an AFL team. So it's always been my belief, and certainly the Devils logo appears on every one of my emails, that it will be the Tassie Devils. But there is a little problem in the background, and that is Warner Brothers may say that their cartoon character used it.
Fair dinkum. Warner Brothers.
So you could effectively say they stole it off us, and they potentially might be able to stop us from merchandising.
Wow. Okay, so watch this space there. David and Goliath battle that you potentially got on your hands. It's such fantastic news, Russell. I dare say you're going to raise a glass tonight. You should celebrate. And there's a lot to look forward to, including the song, the name. As well as that, you're going to have a heap of players, both male and hopefully female as well, born and raised in Tasmania, that will be able to stay there and play the game that they love and that they're good at as well. It'll bring a lot for tourism. All of the reasons that we've been talking about for pretty much decades now, it's finally come through. Russell-Hanson, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Long-time advocate for the AFL Tasmanian team, about 5.5 years of his retirement. He's dedicated to ensuring that this happened, and today that became a reality.
It's called Tasmanian advocate, a key figure behind the Tassie push. We've been able to track him down on a very special morning for Tasmanian football. It's great to have you on the line, Russell. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, very, very well. Probably not as well as you, Russell.
Absolutely fantastic.
What's it feel like to know that this day is finally coming?
Well, I guess 33 years in the making. I've spent the last 5.5 years of my retired life virtually full time to get this team. So, fantastic day coming up.
That's a great passion of love, 33 years to get what you think that the people of Tasmania rightly deserve, and I'm with you on that. And today you get that day. I mean, how hard has it been? Did you ever think you'd get to this day, Russell?
There's been some highs over the last 5.5 years, but there's been lots of lows. So at times do you give up? But at the very beginning, I guess I swore to myself, we are not giving up this time. We're getting this team.
And today you get that team. Megan McLaughlin will be down there with the executive of the AFL, and they'll announce that there is that team in Tasmania.
That's exactly right.
Have you got a little special bottle or something you've been saving for this moment that you might crack open tonight?
Yes. Sitting in the fridge at the moment, a nice bottle of mum.
Nice. That sounds very, very good. So what will this mean, Russell, to the people of Tasmania, the footy fans of Tasmania in particular, of course? What will this mean to them, considering the journey you've been on, the people you would have spoken to through those 33 years? What will it mean?
Look, it's going to be something sensational for everyone. you would probably know that back in the 70s, 80s, South football in Tasmania was just virtually the top of the tree. Our participation rates were fantastic, but ever since the AFL expanded or become the AFL in 1990, we ended up with every state has two teams. Victoria's got 10, Tasmania doesn't have one. And our football is virtually on its knees. And to get this team, it will be almost an instant. It will ignite the state. It will be brilliant.
So I was going to ask you that. Does it have the power to give football a rebirth from all levels, from grassroots all the way through, from the back of this?
Absolutely. Look, last year, I'm a member of North Melbourne. I go to the 4 games that they play at Hobart each year. And a couple of years ago, there was an 8-year-old beside me, and during the game, I got a tap on the shoulder, and this 8-year-old said, "Russell, we need a Tasmanian team." So, there's an 8-year-old who loves football, plays football. And we talked the other day as to how old will you be when we get our team in 2027, 28. So it is brilliant.
No, that is fantastic. That is great to hear. It's a very exciting time. I'm very, very pleased for you, Russell. Well, not just me, but I'm sure there's plenty of people pleased for you and all the ones that have fought for this to happen. And to have this day finally arrive, I'm sure is unbelievably satisfying. And I imagine emotional to some degree as well. And we appreciate your time and good luck. Enjoying the sentiment and the emotion of today, and of course that bottle of Morm a little bit later on tonight.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much.
Great to have you with us, Russell Hanson.